Welcome to another Evoke Creativity with me, Tammy Collins. This is what we're going to do today. It's a DIY handmade Christmas gift money envelope. I've done these for years, and with a recent move and lots of chaos in my life, I haven't done it for the past 3 years. So I really wanted to get back to that this year. And these are just some samples of what we're going to do today. These are really old. I carry these around a lot, which actually speaks a lot to how they hold up over time. And this is a different one, which we'll do another time. This is a gift card envelope, which I also really love to use. And these are just really great because they're actually very easy to do. Anyone can do them. And they're fun, and if you've purchased money gift cards or cards of any sort, they can get a little expensive. So like I mentioned with our recent move, I have no idea where my template is. I actually have a template that I made up for this, and I took one apart to kind of show you, and I made some notes on measurements, and we'll go into that a little bit later. Right now, I'm just showing you that I kind of went into my paper stash and pulled out a bunch of things that kind of spoke to me. I'm not going to use them all, but this is what spoke to me. So right here, I'm determining the size of the piece of paper that I need to start with and where I need to make my score marks. And really, that's all you need to know how to make this. So I've cut my paper to the size that I need, which is 8 3/8 by 8 3/8. And you could modify this slightly to make it simpler. You could do 8.5 by 8.5, but that would change your score mark. So you would have to make an accommodation for that. Now I'm just taking the paper and I am scoring it in the appropriate places. And the first score is going to go at 2 3/4. And this cardstock, I should mention that there are different types of cardstock paper or scrapbooking paper. Some are a little thicker, heavier weight than others. These papers that I chose are specifically a little bit thicker. And so we made a score at 2 3/4, and now we're going to make another score at 5 3/4. And right now I'm just refreshing my memory because it actually could have been almost 4 years since I've done these, and so I'm just refreshing my memory. I did make a template. I highly recommend, if you're going to do something like this regularly, you just make a template out of cardboard and make all your marks on there, and then you don't have to do this process ever again. If you hang around till the end, I do have a pattern for you if you would like that. You can simply drop in the comments that you want a copy of the template, and then go over to the description and click on the Your Creativity Matters link and give me your email. And if you've told me in the comments and you gave me your email, I will send you a PDF copy of the template with all the instructions and all these numbers, so you don't have to write them all down if you didn't want to do that. And so now we're scoring the flap, which I'm doing actually at just under an inch. It's like 7/8 of an inch. And the one thing you want to do right here, I'm making sure that the paper, when it's folded in an envelope style, the pattern is going to be the way that I want it to look. I apologize, I was off screen there, so now you can really get a view of that. 2 3/4, and then 5 3/4, and then we're flipping the paper, and we're doing 7/8 and 7/8. Okay, so I like to work in sequence, so I did that process to all of the pieces of paper that I cut out. And so now we're going to make cuts to create the final shape. And I'm just showing you here with a pen what's going to happen. So the parts marked with an X will get cut out. I got to get my glasses there. So there's a score line there that you can use as your cutting line. And you can either put the scissor in the center of the score line, off to the right. I like to do it off to the right and completely cut off the score line. It makes a much cleaner fold. So when you score paper, it creates a groove in the paper, and I'm cutting to the right side of that groove to completely remove the groove. And so here we have our basic shape. I'm just folding it over. I'm using a bone folder to get nice crisp lines. And then what I also like to do is take some punches and do a few finishing details. You could, of course, just leave it that way. I have some punches here. Some of these are old, and I'm actually going to have a bit of difficulty with these particular Fisker ones, and I don't exactly know why they're not working. I'll have to give them a go on some other paper. For some reason, they just didn't want to punch. But that's okay. So this one is actually my favorite one. I love the way this fits in my hand. And you can turn it to have a smaller rounded edge or a larger rounded edge. I have it on the larger one. I wanted to show you these Fisker ones, and they just don't want to work, and I have no clue why. So I'm just going to give up on those. And then, so we're going to use this circle punch for an added detail. And what that detail is right there. I'm going to punch half of the circle. It just makes a really nice detail when the piece is finished. And then I'm going to round the corners that I will be folding over. You, of course, could round the other two corners too, but and this is what the envelope will look like. And we're going to add a bunch of details and some goodies later. Now I'm using this Elmer's Craft Bond. It says it's extra strength. And so I'm just putting that in there. You just want to be careful that you don't put the glue past the edge of your fold, which I did here a little bit. And so you see with the bone folder, I'm just trying to make sure that I don't have any glue on there. I don't want it to glue shut. And, you know, I should really be using gloves. I've mentioned this before. When you're working with paper and glue, it just gets everywhere. I don't care how great you are at it. It just is going to get everywhere. Not to mention your hands have, you know, their own little bit of oil, and that will get into paper as well, and you should really wear gloves. I'm just not a fan of it. I've developed a bad habit there, so in this case, do as I say, not as I do. And so I'm just repeating that process again so that you can see what I did. I hope that this, you know, invokes some creativity in you. This is just a paper craft. It's relatively easy with the instructions. You can just do it. The first time you do it, you're probably going to mess it up somehow, which is totally okay. Just plan to do a few of them in a row, and you'll be happy with your results. You can make these out of just, you could recycle a brown grocery bag, a gift bag, anything you have around you could do. I'll bet you could even do this out of like parchment paper and get sort of a vellum look. That might be really cool. Would be a little fidgety, but it could definitely be done. So there, I'm just putting a little mark so I know where to take my glue to. But I'm going to be doing a bunch of paper crafts and a Christmas related posts coming up, because that's the season that we're in, and that is how I'll spend a lot of my creative time. And this whole channel is about just sharing my creative processes and what I do, and how I have committed to a regular creative routine and what happens. And sometimes it goes good and sometimes it goes bad, but that's the way I roll around here. It's perfectly imperfect. So, okay, we've finished all of those envelopes. They're all cut and glued. And now I'm going to make a band. And the band just adds a decorative, fancy element. You know, it's kind of like the icing on the cake. It's just going to make it a little bit more special. When I give gifts, I really love to create a little bit of a wow factor. I want the person to get the gift to sort of have a, I want their eyes to light up. I want them to feel special. I want them to feel like no one in the world's ever gotten a gift that looks like this. And it makes them feel special. And you know, I started doing this years ago because I have two boys, and you know, of course, there becomes an age where money is what is the desired gift, and I hated to just give them money or to just give them a card that someone else wrote, or you know, it just didn't feel special to me, and so I started making these envelopes. I love paper, I love paper crafting, I love creating, so I thought, what a perfect way to do this. So right now I'm just sort of playing with a bunch of different paper combinations, and I cut out a bunch of strips. You can cut these to any width that you want. What I'm doing here is kind of staggering them so that it's like a larger strip and then a medium strip and then maybe a skinnier strip on top. I'm just sort of playing around with what that's going to look like. Do you have a tradition or a favorite thing you love to do around the holidays or when it comes to giving gifts? You know, anything that you just really love to do that you think is important to people that you give gifts to? I'd love to hear what you have to say. Tell me what you think of these envelopes. If you have any questions, be sure to let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like. That really helps other people that are interested in this kind of stuff to find the video. I can't express that enough, how important it is to like. Even a comment is very helpful in helping others to find the content. I'm going to be really stepping up my game here with this channel coming up in the new year with lots of great things. I want to be able to really inspire you to be more creative, and so I've got a lot of great ideas, and I'm going to be doing a lot of freebies. If you haven't had a chance, pop on over to my website and take a look at some of the things I have. I have originals and prints and all kinds of great things. Okay, so what's happening right here now is I'm getting the band ready, and the band is scored at 2 3/4 and 5 7. Oh my goodness, I butchered that. 2 3/4 and 5 3/4. But then at the 2 3/4, I go to the line just before that and make an additional score. And then at the 5 3/4, I go to the right of that and make an additional score. And the reason for that is that it's making the band have a sort of a boxed corner that makes it slide over really, really nicely. Now I'm a little off screen here, but I'll realize that in a second and pull it back for you. There you go. Okay, so see, I'm going to make it at 2. Oh, I said 2 3/4. Excuse me. It's 2 1/2. 2 1/2 and 5 1/2. That can't be right. It has to be 2. Let me just look at that again. I'm sorry. I thought I was going to be tricky and do these together, and that just didn't work at all. Okay. I am scoring that at 2 1/2 and 5 1/2, and not 2 3/4 and 5 3/4. I'm really sorry about that. I don't know how. Let me grab one of those and take a look at that real quick. I have written down, let's see here. Okay, because it's about the paper that is, it is 2.5 and 5.5, and then you do, okay, so 2.5, and then you go to the left and do the little line before that, and then the 5.5, and you go to the right of that and do the little line there. It's different than the envelope because these strips are just cut. They're not cut exactly the same length as the envelope, and that's what's throwing me off there. I apologize. I had to realize what I did. So the bands are not a particular length. I wanted them to overlap, and I just picked how long I wanted that to be, and then I just cut them all the same. And that's why it's 2.5 and 5.5. Okay, and so there's one all glued together. I will use hot glue for this because I don't want to wait for any other kind of glue to dry. So you can see there, I just made them so that they're long enough to overlap enough. And I'm going to use the hot glue gun, and I'm just going to put some glue on there to glue that down. And then I'm going to put the other band on top of it. I'm going to kind of center it, and then I'm going to glue this one down, and I'm going to glue it in a way that it also sticks to the other band. Because I would like them to slide off together. You don't have to glue them together. I just think this is an easier way. And you could forgo the band and use ribbon. I've done that. You could even punch a hole in there and do ribbon in the closure and kind of make it like wrap around and tie. That would be really nice. This is a really fun paper that I had gotten years ago to make these, and I had a few pieces left that I saved to make some more of these. Now, I did not come up with this idea, but this is a modified pattern. I discovered how to do this 5 or 6 years ago, maybe even longer than that, through a series of research. And my apologies, I have no idea where I got those original ideas from, but these are not the same thing that they did. I have since modified this. This has sort of become my own pattern, if you will. You're of course welcome to have the pattern. It's a gift from me to you, but obviously, you know, I ask that you don't reproduce it. It's for your personal use only. And so here's a look at all of them, and I have these sort of glitter punch outs. It was like a pack, I don't know, of like 100 or something that I bought. I actually got them on a clearance bin. I'm a big clearance shopper, and I grab things in there, and I've had these for years, but I thought they would make a perfect addition right here on the front. And they have a sticker back, so I'm going to pull the sticker off, but I'm also going to hot glue them on. And then I have some, you know, alphabet letters, and I actually didn't have the right alphabet letter there, so I kind of stacked a different letter on top of that copper one and sort of mixed and matched that to make that work. I thought it went nicely with that paper. It's sort of a coppery effect. And so now I'm just going to let you watch me sort of play around with embellishments and figure out what do I want to stick on here. And, you know, I feel like it just needs an additional element. And I'm just sort of, I pulled from my stock of things that I have. And I don't know, I'm just sort of figuring out what works. I do like to glue those on even though they are sticky. I just never trust those sticky back things, and I want them to be able to pull these on and off. And if you do these in a way that aren't too personalized, the other one I had an initial on there. If they're not personalized, it does allow them to keep them or reuse them. It's so funny. I every time I go to the craft store or any of those types of places, I scour the clearance bins. I've found the greatest things in there for 50 cents or $1, and they may not be in season, and that's okay. I just add it to my stash, and so right here you can see now I'm just sort of pulling from my stash, and it all just kind of works. And I have found that when you do that, you tend to gravitate towards things that you like, and when you do that, you will ultimately have things that coordinate because you're going to gravitate towards the same colors and hues and designs and patterns and things of that nature. And then what you have is what's happening right now. Everything kind of just coordinates. And I'd encourage you to look around at the things that you have. If you've ever done any kind of crafts, I'm sure you have paper around. I'll bet you even have colored construction paper around. You'd be surprised what you could make work. You could do these out of really good Christmas wrapping paper. Now I happen to have these really teeny tiny little snowflakes that I thought, oh, these will look great on here. And I realized I should have cut it before I did it, so I have to go get a tool, so I'll pop back with that in a second. But that was a really nice little detail on there. I'm going to fuss with it, but I'll get it worked out. And then I have these, they're translucent stickers, and I thought, oh, what a great thing. Let's just put a personal message inside here. Now, sometimes I'll write a note or, you know, say something special in here, and I just thought these would be a nice added touch. And same thing, this is like a tablet that I got. I think I got it like on 50% off or something, so it was like $3 or something. And it's just one of those tablets that's kind of great for all kinds of different things. Now I know who I'm giving these gifts to, so I'm being a little particular about what message I'm putting in there. So and you can see on that green envelope, I put the punch on the wrong side, but it won't matter. It's fine. It could stay there. I'm going to be doing some Christmas gift videos coming up. We're going to do some paper ornaments. I love to make paper ornaments, and Christmas cards and a bunch of other little decor items and things of that nature. If you didn't have a chance already, be sure to check out some of my other videos. I created a couple DIY journal books that you can also create or make as gifts. It's just such a great way to give money rather than, you know, a card that doesn't really, it's just, you picked it off the shelf. While it could have some great saying in it and you might have spent a half an hour picking out the card, this just feels so much more special. These are also really great to put in stockings. So you can do a stocking and then have, or even like a gift bag and have a bunch of things in there and have this in there. So it makes, you know, one small gift with lots of things to open, and it just feels more special. And there you go. That's what we made. So here's I did map out the pattern for you, and it gives you all the details. It doesn't have the sleeve on there, but you will be able to do that part. And here's what you would get if you would like it. Just let me know in the comments and fill out the Your Creativity Matters. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.